Story time about how my creepy uncle flirts with me. Disclaimer, this is not my story time, it's sending me on Instagram. I finally told my dad and he told my uncle to stop making comments. My uncle just laughed and told my dad that he was overreacting. And that all he said to me was that I was a pretty girl. What a liar. In part 1 and 2, I told you guys that it was getting worse, but here's where it actually gets even worse. Like I said, I have a really big family, so my cousins are growing up too. One of them just turned 13 and my uncle cannot stop staring at her. She's maturing a lot quicker than most 13-year-olds. He's already staring at her. So here's what I did. At the next family event, I sat right next to him. Every time he would stare at one of my cousins or try to make a comment at me, I called him out for it in front of everybody. I even recorded the things that he said. The fact that I even have to do this at a family event makes me sick. Instead of enjoying my time with my family, I have to sit next to my creepy uncle policing him. Anyway, it's totally worth it though. I'm making sure that my cousins don't feel uncomfortable. After I had enough recordings of him saying nasty things, at the next family event, I showed it to my grandma. I basically played it for the entire family. My grandma told him that he couldn't come to any more events if he was going to behave that way. And of course, he apologized to everyone right away. But not to me, he apologized to my dad. After his half-ass apology, he was let back into family events. I don't think that's enough punishment. Give me some ideas because I think I deserve justice. Creepy uncle.
So we ended up doing it for the first time that night. The next morning when I woke up, the first thing he said to me was, "Do you ever exercise?" I was shocked. Part 2 is up. Story time about how my boyfriend shames me for having cellulite. Disclaimers is not my story time, I sent me on Instagram. That's when he said point blank, super serious, "Do you ever exercise?" I just stared at him. I had literally just woken up in his bed after the first time we ever did it. Then I thought he must be joking. So I started to laugh a little, and then he says, "No, seriously, do you ever exercise?" I said, "Sometimes." Then he told me, "You should really try to work out at least 5 times a week." I went home and finally texted him saying that I wasn't comfortable with the way he spoke to me. That's when he said that what he said to me was completely normal and that I shouldn't be offended. This was all in text, by the way. That's when he sends me another text message saying, you wouldn't have as much cellulite as you do if you didn't eat so much fast food. And if you exercise 5 times a week like I told you. I didn't reply to him for the rest of the day. Later that day, he shows up to my apartment and says, I should feel comfortable enough to tell you what I think about you. He somehow ended up making me feel bad and I ended up apologizing. Obviously, after that, I became really self-conscious about my cellulite and my entire body. So anytime we were together, I would always stay under the covers. By the way, my boyfriend doesn't have a great body. He's super soft and pudgy. Last week, he told me that he had abs though. Part 3 is story time about how my boyfriend shames me for having cellulite. Disclaimer, it's not my story time, it's on Instagram. One day he pulls up his shirt and says, "Look, I have abs." Which no, he doesn't. He's super soft and has a thick layer of fat on it. I smirked and he said, "What?" And I said, "You don't have abs." Then he says, "Yes, I do. I'm in better shape than you." By the way, he said this in front of his friends. So I was super embarrassed and stayed quiet the entire day. He finally went to drop me off and I was so happy to be home. But he decided to come upstairs with me. Got straight into my PJs. And when I came out of my bedroom, he says, "Wow, your cellulite's getting worse by the day." That's when I finally broke. I turned around and started yelling at him. I told him he had no right to talk about my body the way that he did, and that all he does is objectify me. He started laughing and said, "Wow, those are big words." And that when we met, he thought that I was in better shape. But my clothes obviously tricked him. I'm 5'4" and I weigh 130 pounds. I am by no means fat, but the way that he was bullying me was making me think that I was. That's when I told him that he was the fat one, and that he had a big, huge beer belly. I also told him that his face was super round, but that didn't bother me. Oh yeah, and that his hairy back was gross. Then he said, "Wow, I can't believe you're attacking my physical appearance." Then he stormed out of my apartment. And as soon as he left, I felt happy. We haven't spoken in 4 days. I'm afraid that if he asks me to get back with him, I will. But I should just break up with him, right? What should I do?
I took the biggest, stinkiest poop on my best friend's wedding dress, and you'll never guess why. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. My aunt died a couple months ago, so I went home for the funeral. This meant that my husband was going to be alone for about 2 weeks. Anytime I travel in preparation to leave my husband alone, I will go ahead and cook him gourmet meals for the 2 weeks that I'm gone. Make his breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then I put everything in the freezer. Even prepare his stupid smoothie packets so that he can just pull them out of the fridge and put them in the blender with some milk. Spent 2 days in the kitchen. I get on my flight, go see my family. And while I'm grieving the loss of my aunt, my husband keeps calling me to ask me about his stupid meals and how long he should microwave each thing. After the 2 weeks, I come home and my husband tells me that I need to step outside the house with him. He sits me down and lets me know that he wants a separation. Why? Because he fell in love with the next door neighbor, aka my best friend, the house we go to every Friday for dinner. And the most unbelievable part of all this, he tells me that he expects me to move out of our beautiful house that we built together in 2 days. Part 2 is so good, you gotta go watch it. I took a poo on my best friend's wedding dress. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. When my husband informed me that he was leaving me for my best friend who was our neighbor, and that he expected me to move out in 2 days, I was in actual shock. It's as if I saw my whole life flashing before my eyes. I had been married to this man for 20 years, had a child together who was now an adult, but the way in which he broke the news was so insensitive. How do you just bring somebody outside of your house and tell them, "By the way, I'm in love with a neighbor and you gotta leave in 2 days"? I tried to convince him if we could work things out, if we could could go to couples therapy, but he put his foot down and said absolutely not. And of course I told him I was not going to leave our house. That house is like a museum, covered in artwork from all the places I've traveled to. And that house was literally built by us, by our own hands. So for 2 weeks, he and I lived in the same house while the neighbor wouldn't even come out of her house to face me. Texted her and asked her if we could talk, and she said that she had nothing to say to me and that her business was with my husband now. Can you believe it actually does get worse? I come home one day to find her cooking in our kitchen. Part 3 is I pooped on my best friend's wedding dress. It's not my story time, it's sending me on Instagram. I walk in to find my best friend, the woman that my husband has been cheating on me with, cooking in our house. Now the thing is, they didn't expect me to be home from work so soon. I just got a feeling that I really should have gone home, and I did. As soon as she sees me, she takes the apron off and leaves. She was too much of a coward to face me. I gotta remind you, at this point, she hadn't even spoken to me yet. I let her leave. When I told my husband that he couldn't bring her around like that, he told me that I was being unreasonable. Finally, after 2 weeks, he moved into her house. This meant that we were still neighbors. A month later, they announced their engagement. I don't know what came over me, but I went into their house and I saw the dress on the bed. I stood over it, I took a poop, and I left. By the way, he and I were still technically married, so they had a spiritual wedding. And he can't file for divorce because he knows I can take half of everything. Definitely know it's me who pooped on the dress, so they try to avoid me at all cost. And she ended up buying another wedding dress. On the day of the wedding dress, I ended up calling the cops to complain about the noise. And they came and stopped the wedding. What else should I do? My boyfriend's girl best friend told me that they hooked up. The real question is, why did she tell me that? And wait until I tell you what else she told me. Okay, let's call my boyfriend Nick. Nick and I have only been together for 3 months, but we worked together 2 years ago, and since then he's always texted me, he's always followed me on Instagram, watched all my stories, and at least once a month he would ask me out to go on a date, but I kept saying no. Because we worked together, I thought it would be completely inappropriate. Number one, I love my job. Number two, I don't shit where I sleep. We both work in marketing and we get paid pretty good money, but there is no way I'm gonna ever jeopardize that. And the thing is, I actually did start liking him. We had great conversations at work. Team and I usually would get dinner every Friday, and he and I would just gravitate towards each other every single time. I had just gotten out of a really toxic relationship. The last thing I wanted was to start dating a coworker. But he ended up moving to another company. He called me and said, hey, we don't work together anymore. Give me a chance. And I did. The first thing we did was go out to meet his group of best friends, including Bethany, his biggest fan, his girl best friend. Bethany hugged me so hard, I thought I was gonna suffocate. Part 2 is up. Boyfriend's girl best friend told me they hooked up on the very first night that I met her. When I met Bethany, she hugged me so hard I thought I was gonna suffocate. Very first thing she said to me was, oh my god, I didn't think you were gonna be that pretty. And she smacks my boyfriend in the back and says, why didn't you tell me she was gonna be so pretty? And the 5 of us laughed. Boyfriend had me meet all of his best friends at the bar that night. And let me just say this, there were 2 other girls who were so nice and kind to me, but Bethany was just on a whole other level of cringe. Before I know it, she monopolized me. She took me away from the group and took me to the bar. Without hesitation, she starts telling me about how they hooked up once, and only once. Then she thought it was important to tell me so that we could just get it out of the way. Then she looks me up and down and says, oh my gosh, you are so not his type. When I asked her what his type was, she started describing herself. Tall, skinny, blonde, fake tan. I'm a short, curvy redhead. She immediately let me know that he probably wasn't even attracted to me really, and that he was probably more attracted to her. Next words out of her mouth were, oh my gosh, he is such a slut, by the way. You're gonna have to be careful. And she starts listing off all the things he did to his past girlfriends. Babe, part 3 is up. My boyfriend's girl best friend told me they hooked up the first night I met her. Real reason is, why is she telling me this? After she told me that I wasn't his type, she also blurted out that I needed to be careful with him because he had a tendency to be slutty. Now, in her peewee-sized brain, she thought she was giving me girl tips. You and I know that she was doing a really good job at exposing herself. She told me he cheated on his last girlfriend with his ex, and that I can tell he's cheating on me if he starts hiding his phone or if he starts ghosting me. Because I'm smart and she's not, I let her continue to word vomit. This is when she asked me if I was going to go on the next trip with them. Apparently, the 5 of them go on an annual trip. She told me not to say anything because he would probably surprise me with airline tickets. On the way back to our table, she put the cherry on top. She said by the time they were 30, if they hadn't gotten married, they had both agreed to just be together. They would buy a little cottage somewhere and just live out their lives. Later that night, I broke up with my boyfriend. I told him everything his best friend said. He begged me to forgive her because she was in love with him and that they all knew it. He told me I would never have to see her face again. He's waiting for me to give him another chance. Now, do you think I should give him another chance or just say bye?
My best friend only keeps me around because I'm fat. Disclaimer, this is not my story time with sending me on Instagram. I've always been the chunky, pudgy, overweight, chubby girl in the group. Now, our friend group consisted of 4 girls in high school. Once we graduated college, 3 of us stuck
together while the other one was kind of out. Then the other two girls in the group got boyfriends, and I was on my own. Eventually, they stopped reaching out to me and it was like I didn't even exist. Let me be very clear about something. I have accepted that I'm the chunky girl of the group. I never get jealous. I do not envy them. They are all very attractive and skinny, but I just don't care about that. I'm happy that they love their bodies, but I feel okay in mine. But of course, I knew that I needed to get healthier, so I signed up to the gym. Around this time, one of my girlfriends broke up with her boyfriend and she started coming around again. And I accepted her friendship again, but I told her that it hurt my feelings that she completely ignored me once she got a boyfriend. She promised that she would never do it again, and we started going to the gym together. She's the one that always gets hits on. Guys compliment her. It's like I don't even exist. In fact, they ask me for her number when she doesn't want to give it to them. You see where this is going? Decided to get dressed up all cute and we went to a bar together. Babe, part 2 is up. You gotta go watch. My best friend only keeps me around because I'm fat and I make her look good. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. That's when she invited me to go to our favorite bar. As usual, she always invites me to go to her place to get ready. Nope, she can never come to mine. So I lugged all my clothes and makeup all the way to her place. And as we're getting ready, she starts suggesting that I change my outfit. I felt really cute in my outfit. It was a sleek black blazer with the matching bottoms, tight black tank top, and gold jewelry. But as soon as she saw my outfit, she said I looked way too formal. And then she spent the next 30 minutes trying to convince me to change and put on one of her tight-ass dresses. I asked her if she was in her right mind, considering her dress wouldn't even fit my right thigh. Then she said that I needed to calm down and that we should just go get drinks. And then she ended up copying my outfit. She wore a gray blazer with skinny jeans. When we get to the bar, I started having fun right away. I saw one of my besties from work, and her and I get along so well. This is when I noticed my bestie was really quiet. But as usual, she's only waiting for a guy to come hit on her. Finally, some random dude comes up to her and asks her if she wants a drink. She's like, "Oh my god, thank you so much." Then she looks at me and says, "It's always good to have you around, you know?" Part 3 is up. My bestie only keeps me around because I'm fat and I make her look good. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. Let's send me on Instagram. That's when she tells me that it's always good having me around, you know? And I did not know what she meant at the time. When the random guy shows up with her drink, and then she does the thing that she always does. She flirts with these guys, puts her hand on their shoulder, tends to laugh at their stupid nasty ass jokes, in the hopes of getting a second drink. Me, on the other hand, was dancing and having fun with my coworker. That's when the random guy says, "Hey you need to tell your best friend to give me her phone number." And I responded, "I mean, she will if she thinks you're hot." That's when my best friend whispers into this guy's ear, but loud enough for me to hear, "Oh, she's just upset because I'm the one that gets hit on and not her. You know, because she's a little bit chubby." It didn't even make me angry. I already knew she thought this, but it stung. Like the fatty I am, I invited my coworker to a nice dinner. I left my bestie at the bar without a car. I also sent her a text saying, "I heard what you said about me to the guy, and if that's what you really think about me, then this is not a friendship I need to be pursuing." The next morning, I had about 20 missed calls from her, and so I blocked her. If she really wanted to, she could have come to my house. Do you think I did the right thing? Self-care sister out. I found out my boyfriend didn't use protection when he cheated on me. If you want to send me your story time, slide into my DMs. I ran through boyfriend is a slut. 2 years ago, we met through friends at a party. He was asking for my number before he even knew my name. To be perfectly blunt, I thought he was kind of ugly. Wasn't anything particularly special about him. He wasn't well-spoken or intelligent. Wasn't good-looking. He didn't have a high-paying job. The only good quality I found in him that night was that he made me laugh. Not just once, but basically the entire night. I really underestimated just how much a man making me laugh made me feel good. So I gave the poor ugly guy a chance. I gave him my number. 2 weeks later, I get a stupid dumb text from him. "Hey, do you want to go out to brunch?" And I said sure. He ends up taking me to brunch in Lavo, NYC. And if you know Lavo, you know that it's basically like a club in the morning, but with brunch food. So he got a couple of drinks in me, and before I knew it, he started looking pretty. And bam, he went in for a kiss, and I let him. A month later, we were together. But I caught him texting one of his exes. I broke up with him. We got back together. I caught him talking to another girl on Instagram. We broke up. We got back together. Then he was on his best behavior for a couple of months. Go to part 2, it's already up. I found out my ran-through boyfriend didn't use protection when he cheated on me. If you want to send me your story time, slide into my DMs. Let me remind you, he was the ugly guy I gave a chance. After the 3rd time I caught him talking to a girl on Instagram, I broke things off, but then he was on his best behavior, so we got back together. This is where I severely underestimated him. You see, because I thought he was a little bit ugly, didn't have a high-paying job, wasn't particularly smart, but he could make me laugh, just didn't think he was able to get girls, especially not ones that were willing to take off their clothes in front of him. But one day I catch him scratching his thingy. Like, a lot, you know? Not normal. So I ask him, "What is wrong with you?" Then he starts to cry and breaks down. He says that he cheated on me with a girl and that he did not use protection. So right then and there, I took myself to the doctor and I got myself tested, and thank God I did not catch whatever he had. Turns out he has crabs. Google that at your own risk. Do you think he even apologized to me? Nope. In fact, he ghosted me. Called him and texted and he blocked me. I went to his apartment and he wouldn't let me in. This is what I get for giving the ugly guy a chance. He didn't even care for my own safety. He wasn't even gonna tell me about it. Now, how should I get revenge? Am I the asshole for wanting to expose my lying, cheating mother? After
After she slapped me, I slapped her back. And I slapped her so hard she actually fell on the floor. I instantly felt bad and tried to apologize. That's when she started to cry and I started to cry. I asked her to just be honest with me and tell me the truth. She told me that she wasn't in love with my dad anymore, but that she felt bad for him because he was still in love with her. And that she'd been dating this new guy for 6 months. She even confessed that she was addicted to going on dating apps and flirting with men. That's when I told her she needed to tell my dad. That she needed to stop using his money to take her boyfriend out. Then another confession. She had spent over $25,000 on hotels that she would book for her and her new boyfriend. And apparently this guy was broke. He couldn't pay for himself. She tried to negotiate with me. If I don't tell my dad, she'd break up with her boyfriend and stop using the apps. I mean, she's my mother and I don't want to cause her pain, but it's my dad. I ended up telling her that I wouldn't tell my dad. But 2 nights ago, my dad went on a work trip. My mom is so stupid she actually snuck in her boyfriend through her window. I heard them doing the dirty all night. Now she's begging me again not to tell my dad. I'm planning on telling my dad tonight. I'll have to keep you guys updated. Give me advice. Am I the asshole for wanting to expose my lying, cheating mother? That's when I saw that she was sending nudes to men on different apps. Not only was she on Tinder, she was also on Bumble and an app for older people. Mind you, my father is still in love with this woman. I managed to take pictures of everything on the apps. Here's the worst part. Start going through her messages and that's when I found that she has a boyfriend. At that point, I didn't know how long they'd been together. Now I know that she's been with him for 6 months. So every single time she goes on her weekend trips with her friends, she's actually with her boyfriend. And get this, she uses my dad's money to pay for everything. An entire week passed before I confronted her. First, I didn't know how to confront her, but I had to just do it. Every time I saw my dad, I would start to cry and he was worried about me. I didn't have the heart to tell my dad until I confronted my mom. I went up to her and I showed her all the receipts I had. So she got pissed at me for looking through her phone. By the way, at this point, I'm still living with my parents. That's when she threatened to kick me out of the house if I told my dad anything. My own mother threatening me. Then she tried to smack me across the face, so I smacked her. Part 3 is up. Am I the asshole for wanting to expose my lying, cheating mother? A month ago, I borrowed my mom's phone and she had no idea, but I looked at all of her apps and found that she was cheating with multiple men. I'm 26 years old and my parents have now been married for 30 years. I actually got separated when I graduated from high school, but then they got back together a few years later. My mom has always been the one that wants to separate my dad, but he keeps wanting to get back together with her. My dad is actually in love with this woman. He adores her. He does everything for her. He's super affectionate with her, loves to take her out on dates, gives her so much of his time, and she still doesn't appreciate it. I've always been closer to my dad than my mom. My mom's always trying to find an excuse to go party with her friends, but now I know why. Like I said, I ended up borrowing her phone and she probably didn't expect me to go snooping. And honestly, it wasn't even my intention. I'm scrolling on her phone and I see the app Tinder. I nearly fell out of my seat. So I quickly scrolled through everything and started taking pictures. My mom was sending nudes to random men. Part 2 is up.
As my boyfriend is making out with this girl on his bed, I'm hiding underneath it. Suddenly, she starts talking about how she's so happy they're finally a couple. How she's so happy he got away from me since I was such a crazy ex. Clearly, my boyfriend had been poisoning me against her. That's when I realized I really couldn't blame the girl. My boyfriend had clearly told her that he had broken up with me and that now he was with her. My plan was to initially get out of the bed and surprise them, but instead, I decided to wait. I managed to set up my phone while they were doing it on the bed, and I recorded the entire thing. After they finally finish, she leaves. My boyfriend goes to take a shower, and I finally come out underneath the bed. And I sit on his bed. And the look on this man's face when he comes out of the bathroom, priceless. But the best part is that I was filming the entire thing. At this point, I was still wearing the diapers because I had been under his bed for 2 days. I'm obviously looking rough. Then I tell him that I've been under his bed for the entire 2 days. He started calling me crazy and he tried to kick me out. Then I told him that he needs to break up with the girl and come back with me. If he didn't, I would send the video around to the entire school, including his coach, who is the girl's dad. I got him pretty good. So now he's still my boyfriend, although it's forced, to get back at him somehow. I'll keep you guys updated. Bye. I put on the diaper so that I could hide under my boyfriend's bed without having to get out. Disclaimer is not my story time. I was sending me on Instagram. I even took soft food with me so that he wouldn't hear me chewing. I knew he wouldn't be home, so I snuck into his dorm room. That's when I checked his entire room. I went through all of his clothes, even went through all of his dirty laundry just to smell them and make sure he didn't have anything in his pockets. Searched in between the mattresses and I found nothing. At this point, I was just looking for a sign of him having hooked up with somebody. I knew he was going to be coming home soon, so I snuck under the bed. It was pretty hidden underneath there because it's a huge bed. He came in by himself and started changing and went to take a shower. But he took his phone with him into the bathroom, so I didn't have a chance to check it. By the way, he thought that I had gone home to my parents' house, so he wasn't going to be hanging out with me at all. As he was getting ready, he put on cologne, and that's when I knew he was going to go look for another girl. A few hours later, he comes back and I'm still underneath the bed. And guess what? He's with a girl. The same girl I heard the rumor about. They come in there laughing and I can tell that they're clearly drunk. This girl goes to the bathroom and changes into lingerie. And then they started making out on the bed while I'm hiding underneath it. Part 3 is up. I hid under my boyfriend's bed for 2 days and tried to poison him. Disclaimer is not my story time. Sending me on Instagram. My boyfriend and I have been dating for 3 months. And when we started dating, I got really jealous. He was my first boyfriend and I just didn't know how to control my feelings. You can say I'm pretty toxic.
Part of the reason why I'm so insecure is because my boyfriend is probably one of the most popular guys in school. He's a basketball player and he's about to be drafted. So all the girls are constantly trying to hook up with him. And this drives me insane. Whenever we go out, girls are falling over trying to get to him. A few weeks ago, I heard a rumor that my boyfriend had hooked up with a girl. When I asked him about it, he got really defensive. He got so angry he punched a hole in my wall. And well, this made me start thinking, maybe he was cheating on me. So I basically started stalking him. And that's what I've been doing for the past 2 weeks. I'm even skipping class just to go wherever he's going. That's when I decided that I would hide in his room. I even put on a diaper. Part 2 is up.
Story time about how my husband controls all my money while he's unemployed and totally broke. Disclaimers is not my story time, it's sending me on Instagram. After 3 months of me paying for everything and him using my Amazon account to buy whatever he wanted, including gaming consoles, this man had the audacity to tell me that I was spending too much money on my designer bags. Yeah, you heard that right. One day I decided to treat myself for my birthday by getting myself a Chanel bag. As soon as he saw the new purchase, he started acting like I was addicted to shopping. And then he starts bringing up all these other things. How I like going to Starbucks, how I like going to the nail salon, and that's when I realized it. He had access to my bank account. He could see all of the transactions that I was making. And of course he could. I was in my office all day while he had access to my laptop at home. And of course it didn't occur to me to change my passwords. I was actually really shocked when he started bringing all of this up. Then he suggested that I should let him manage my money. And at first I just went with it. Said okay, and that's when he literally took my credit card from me. Then he started moving money around my accounts and started buying crypto. After 2 months of that, I was done. I asked him to give me my credit card back, which he did. He started guilting me into feeling like I shouldn't go to the nail salon and do these little small things that make me feel good about myself. He was brainwashing me. A few weeks later, it was time for me to upgrade my car. So I decided to get a Tesla. And when I told him, he got so angry. I could see in his face that he was so envious. He spent 2 hours trying to talk me out of getting the stupid Tesla. But the very next day, I went straight to the Tesla store and bought my car. When I finally got the car, he started driving it all over town before I drove it. Part 3 is up.